This summer, I'm running a new series of videos in which I review classic episodes of Doctor Who. Each week will see me watch a popular story from each Doctor that I've never seen before, then give my thoughts on the episode in a short but detailed review. I continued this week with the 5th Doctor serial, The Visitation, another 4-part story featuring Adric, Nyssa and Tegan as companions. The main reason I chose this episode is because it featured the Doctor Who universe explanation for the starting of the Great Fire of London. However, I also knew prior to watching that the Sonic Screwdriver makes its final classic series appearance in this story, and is subsequently destroyed later in the plot. The story sees the Doctor attempt to take unwilling TARDIS crew member and air stewardess trainee, Tegan, back to Heathrow Airport. However, they land there 3 centuries early, and soon become involved in a mysterious alien plot to destroy all life on Earth, with genetically modified rats carrying an enhanced strain of the plague. As the Pteroleptals put their plan into action by possessing nearby villagers to do their will, the Doctor, with the help of local highwayman Richard Mace, must find a way to stop them before they reach London and unleash the rats on its entire population. I really didn't like the TARDIS crew in this story. Out of the 3 companions travelling with the Doctor, unfortunately I couldn't really relate to any of them at all. I'm not entirely sure why this was the case, although I think it's to do with the fact that none of them were normal humans from the present day, like we're used to in the revived series. It's also worth noting that neither Nyssa nor Tegan were particularly feminine, despite their gender, while Nyssa comes from the far future, and Tegan from Australia. Adric wasn't much better either, sadly, with his annoying high-pitched voice and ugly yellow outfit. The 3-companion dynamic also meant that the TARDIS crew would often split up in the story, or even worse, some would be left doing nothing while the Doctor worked out how to defeat the aliens. I wasn't a massive fan of the 5th Doctor either. I'm not sure if it's because I disliked his companions almost instantly, but he just didn't stand out as a particularly great Doctor to me, in this story at least. It's frustrating that this aspect of the story ruined it so much for me, as the plot was fairly decent. The idea of the main enemy taking advantage of the plague and getting rats to do their dirty work for them is quite clever. The plot was perhaps a little bit slow at the start, although once it got going, it was very good. I thought the crew did a great job at making it look like the 17th century England, and there was some good attention to detail on their part. There were lots of extras dressed as villagers too, which helped to make the setting more realistic. The Pteroleptals were designed well too, although I felt that they were somewhat underused. I really liked the look of the creatures, and they did appear menacing at times. It might have been nice for them to have had more of a backstory, as all we were told is that their ship had crash-landed in 17th century England. They were even more creepy when dressed as the Grim Reaper. I didn't like their android though. It was far too glitzy, shiny and glamorous, and looked very unrealistic. The revived series has rarely seen more than 2 full-time companions travelling with the Doctor at once. Would a TARDIS crew of 4 be a good idea for the future? Personally, I think not. With 3 companions and the Doctor, and any guest characters in different episodes, there's little room for character development. I think to have 4 in the TARDIS for every episode would be too much, and there'd probably be lots of disagreements and arguments, particularly with Capaldi's Doctor. Having said that, we've not had a TARDIS team of 3 in a while. Maybe when Clara eventually leaves the show, it would be a nice change for the Doctor to acquire 2 new companions instead of just 1. To sum up, I thought The Visitation was a pretty average story at best. The TARDIS crew was a mess and featured unlikable and unrealistic companions, and I wasn't a big fan of the 5th Doctor. The plot was pretty decent, but felt somewhat disjointed, and it took a while for it to get going. The historical setting of the 17th century was well achieved, and attention to detail seemed very good. The Pteroleptals were monsters with potential, but didn't really do much for the story. I'm afraid to say, nevertheless, that this is the worst story I've seen as part of this watchathon so far. Next week, I'll be moving on to the Colin Baker era with Attack of the Cybermen. Until then, goodbye.